everybody. I'm Nicole Morate, and I'm here with 1,000 students from high schools all over the country to discuss the important topic of personhood. Weighing in on this discussion today will be moral philosopher Peter Zinger and Catholic activist Marie Smith.
Hello.
Hi, it's great to be here.
Why don't you both tell us a little bit about yourselves?
Okay, my name is Peter Zinger, and as you said, I am a moral philosopher. I am originally from Australia, and I currently teach bioethics at Princeton University.
And I'm Marie Smith. I grew up in Georgia and have a degree in theological studies, and I'm currently working as a youth minister at my local church.
Awesome. Well, why don't we get the discussion started by taking a few questions from the audience. I believe you already have a few students waiting. So, you, young man, go ahead.
Hello, I have a question for you, Mr. Zinger. Everything we hear is opinion, not fact. Everything we see is perspective, not truth. So what is your perspective on the human person?
That's a very good question. A human is an animal with certain biological traits that distinguish it from other species. We are all humans because we share a set of characteristics such as opposable thumbs and also walking on two legs. A person, on the other hand, is someone or something who is self-conscious and can use reason. Therefore, an individual could be a human and not necessarily be a person, such as the mentally disabled or infants.
The way the church views it is completely different, actually. We believe that every human is also a person, regardless of their age or mental capacity. That's why you'll often hear the church use the term human person. There is no difference. All humans were made in God's likeness and image, giving them immeasurable value as a human person.
That's very interesting to see how your views are already off as completely different points of philosophies, as we've only had one question. Does anyone else have a question out there? Okay, you, sir. Go ahead.
Hey, what's your perspective on the human person?
An organism doesn't necessarily have to be a human in order to be a person. As I stated before, a person is someone or something that has some kind of level of self-consciousness and the ability to reason. So, if it can be proved that another species possesses these qualities, then they would be considered non-human persons. Zing!
Well, Marie, what does the church have to say about that?
Well, the church takes its view on this topic directly from the Bible. In Genesis 1:27, it says, "So God created mankind in his own image. In the image of God he created them. Male and female he created them." That passage makes it pretty clear that man was the only species made in God's likeness and image, making it the only species that could be considered a person.
Interesting. Well, Mr. Zinger, earlier you stated that it's possible for someone to be a human but not be a person. If that's the case, how are we to treat humans who are not persons?
Well, Nicole, if a person is not a human, then they are not entitled to the same rights as a person would. For example, let's say that you have a newborn infant. It's not self-conscious or its own actions, and it cannot reason. Logic then indicates that the infant is disabled and is going to be a burden. It is ethical to terminate them before they reach a certain age. The same applies for those in a coma or even the elderly. If they are no longer able to form thoughts and make decisions for themselves, they are no longer a person or of use to society. The only course of action at this point would be to euthanize them. Zing!
Well, I can't agree with that at all. The church teaches that a human is a person from the moment of conception to natural death. Because of that, it's immoral and a sin to kill any human, even if they are disabled. Human life is sacred because we were created in the image and likeness of God, and it should be treated as such in all stages of life under any circumstances.
I can see we've touched upon a very controversial topic there. Let's take another question from the audience. You, sir, over there.
Hey there. You both talked about how human and non-human persons should be treated. What about non-human non-persons?
Well, that's a great question. Every living thing on earth was created by God. They may not have been created in God's likeness and image like man, but they still deserve our respect and care. Man was designated as protector and caregiver for all creation, so all animals and species should be respected and cared for.
I agree to an extent. Creatures should be treated with a certain level of respect, under one condition. If they are sentient, that is, if they can suffer. We should do everything we can to avoid inflicting pain upon them. Not because they were created by God, but simply because it is the ethical thing to do. We should do everything in our power to prevent them the most suffering that we can. Zinger!
So what you're saying is that if an animal cannot suffer, we have no obligation to protect or care for them?
Correct. The same applies for humans. If they cannot suffer, such as when they are in a coma, then they are not sentient, and therefore we have no ethical responsibilities as to their well-being. Zing.
Well, that certainly is an interesting way to put it. I think we have a little bit time. We have time for one more question. You, sir, over there.
Hi, my question is kind of broad. Where do you think we came from? Are we here for a specific reason, or did we just appear? And what happens after we die?
Biologically speaking, people evolved over millions of years. Like all other species on Earth, we originally came from a single-celled organism and evolved over time into what we are today. We will likely continue to evolve as time goes on. Our purpose is to simply be. We have no innate nature per se, so we can be and do whatever we choose. After death, there is likely nothing. We just don't exist anymore. It's death and despair. Zing!
Wow, Donnie Downer.
Well, it's actually Debbie Downer.
Anyways, that's kind of depressing. Well, Marie, what do you have to say about that?
Well, we were made by God, as were all things on earth and in the universe. The church does not outright reject the theory of evolution that Mr. Zinger just mentioned, as long as we acknowledge that it was set in motion by God himself. How else could life have come to exist, even in a single-celled organism? As for our purpose, that's directly tied to our destination after death. Our purpose here on earth is to live according to God's will, so that after we die, we can live forever with Him in heaven. Why would we be here if we didn't have some purpose or something to look forward to after we die?
You both make very interesting points. I feel like this is a topic we could discuss for hours on end, but unfortunately, our time is up. Well, Peter Zinger, thank you for coming out.
It is Zinger. I sing for a living.
Maria Smith, thank you for coming out.
It's actually Marie, honey.
Thanks all of you and all of our wonderful audience members. Again, my name is Nicole Morate, and I will see you next time.